and welcome to the first of a series of 3 dedicated webinars addressing the topic of the real value of Enterprise PLM. My name is Malcolm Wheatley and I'm contributing IT editor here at the Manufacturer magazine. According to some experts, Enterprise PLM is both the biggest opportunity and the biggest blind spot that many manufacturing businesses face today. Very soon we'll be hearing more about what Enterprise PLM actually is, how it can help manufacturers and where the biggest opportunities and most appealing low-hanging fruit are. And of course, there's plenty of time for questions, so as you think of questions, please type them into the little box on your screen and we'll take great pleasure in answering them. But in the meantime, it's my very great pleasure to introduce our speakers today, Jason Long and Ulf Kirster. Jason, Ulf, welcome.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Ulf is Sales Development Leader for Oracle Enterprise PLM in Western Europe. Jason is Regional Manager in charge of PLM across the UK and Ireland. Finally, a quick word about the agenda for today. The objective of today's seminar is to highlight what exactly is Enterprise PLM and what is the value of Enterprise PLM. We'll achieve this by discussing first the challenges for product-oriented businesses and then discuss with Ulf and Jason exactly how Oracle defines Enterprise PLM and why Oracle believes that Enterprise PLM should be seen as a strategic initiative. This then brings us to the risks of poor product lifecycle management and finally Oracle's Enterprise PLM solutions and how they can help you, the manufacturing business. That's plenty to look forward to, so let's get started. So, Ulf, what does Oracle see as the main challenges for today's product-oriented business?
Well, Oracle acknowledges that today product-oriented businesses face a wide range of requirements, and this is different in the various industries from consumer goods, food and beverage, industrial manufacturing to pharmaceuticals or retail companies. All of these companies are facing unique challenges, and I want to make 5 points that are in common for all these industries. The first point is, of course, that there's an ever increasing level of complexity of the design chains and the supply chains on the other hand side, which force many different organizations to work together to design and manufacture and service existing products and products that are to be developed newly. Then, of course, we have globalization, which has increased the competition and has created downward pressure on prices, certainly, and has also accelerated the pace of innovation. The third point is that the market demand is creating the need for customized products and products that are very closely developed to specific or individual requirements. So engineer to order is a very good example for that. Then we have, of course, today economic uncertainty, which has made it more important than ever to be agile and to react to fluctuating market conditions by, for example, mergers and acquisitions or with the creation of joint ventures. And the fifth point I want to make is that there's an ever-increasing regulation which is different in all areas of the world. So when you're marketing your products in all areas of the world, you have to comply with the regulations everywhere. And this adds to the complexity of the supply chain and the product value chain as well.
But Jason, is it possible for one solution to deal adequately with all these demanding requirements?
Thank you, Malcolm. I think firstly, I'd like to just maybe address and follow up on Ulf's point about the impact of these challenges that Ulf outlined. According to a recent study of IDC, over 20% of product-related projects were either over time or over budget, and that at least 1/3 of product companies missed one of their vital runway projects. I think also over nearly 50% of key resources allocated to product development tends to be wasted with inefficient processes or for searching of information across the business. So I think that's important to outline the impact of those challenges. But I think more importantly, and to your question, Malcolm, every industry is very different, which means it has its own unique pressures and concerns. So a single traditional PLM system can't really meet the needs of every industry, and therefore each industry provides its own specific set of requirements and IT solutions, and therefore to address those we look at industry-specific applications. For manufacturers, by producing an out-of-the-box industry-specific application, it allows us to deploy to a solution in a much more reduced time, which then really can have a lower cost of ownership. And what Oracle has done is it's built its own Enterprise PLM suite, which has 7 key industry verticals, which can address those out-of-the-box solutions.
Ulf, here's a question for you. So what is Enterprise PLM, and what is this product value chain that Jason's talking about?
Yes, well, Oracle defines Enterprise PLM. So PLM is on the market for quite a time. But Oracle defines Enterprise PLM, and that's a strategic approach to manage the life cycle of a product throughout its full value chain, from the first idea through the development of the product, then prototyping, obtaining certifications, customization, service, up to the retirement of the product. So it unites all the partners in the value chain by providing a single collaborative platform for the development and management of the products throughout the life cycle. And then the second part of the question was, what's a product value chain? Well, that's the area of the supply chain that deals with the products. It's the entirety of all the processes, both inside the company as well as outside the company, that touch the products and product data from the design to supply chain to sales. So that means it's about managing the entire product value chain that enable managers in these companies to make the best decisions at any point from any perspective of a product life cycle. So it's so that enables companies to evolve from fragmented engineering processes to flawless design process into information-driven product value chains. And so companies can transform their research and development siloed business to world-class information and value-driven value chains throughout the company and beyond its borders.
Thanks, Ulf. That's very clear. But Jason, turning to you, is Enterprise PLM for all companies then, whatever their size or business?
Yeah, so I think that's an important question, Malcolm. I think it's obvious now that the product network is getting more complex, as Ulf has mentioned, with the globalisation. And this has a huge effect on all companies, whatever their size, mid-sized companies to the large blue-chip enterprises, around the globe. I think the increasing complexity of both the product and the shorter life cycles of companies having to deliver more product to market has been really the most it's been in the last 20 years. They're facing higher quality challenges and requirements and addressing more regulatory compliances that Ulf mentioned. I think another aspect is the increasing complexity of their supply chain. Many companies are now moving their operations from single site to separate multi-site, or of course even multi-site globally, which obviously brings a level of issue and complexity. I think outsourcing their design, not only outsourcing their manufacturing, clearly is a challenge for all companies, whatever their size. The increasing complexities need to be addressed by everybody, and I think Enterprise PLM, whatever the size of business, is very important.
Ulf, PLM isn't new. I mean, here at the Manufacturer magazine, we've been writing about it for years. So what is it that's different about Enterprise PLM?
Thanks for that question, Malcolm. Yes, it's true. PLM is nothing new. Enterprise PLM is adding a new dimension. So in order to elaborate on that, let me take a look into history. Some 20 years ago, designers and engineers have started to use computer-aided design packages to produce digital mock-ups of the products that they're producing. And they still today. Then the next level then was product data management, where another level of collaboration was put on top of CAD data management. So it really was adding collaboration capabilities to work with these design files. But of course, when you're using these design-centric tools, you require specialist skills and, of course, expensive user licenses in order to operate. And then the consequence of that is that you have limited uptake of these tools in the wider organization. It's too complex for marketing people, for example, to use these CAD tools. So as a result, once you're outside of engineering, the product information has tended to become fragmented on the one hand side and also scattered across the different functions and systems in the extended enterprise, inside and extended outside the company. So a single holistic view of the product gets lost if you're taking a look at the complete product value chain. And so in order to improve the product value chain maturity, you're coming first from CAD data management to product data management to product lifecycle management, which adds some more capabilities to product data management. And then finally to managing the product value chain, including the integration to the supply chain. As said before, what you're doing is from a very high level perspective, PLM is about getting the parts and processes of the engineers to the people who actually produce the products. In order to know what are the right products to develop, you have to connect all these things. And PLM layers additional capability on product data management on the one hand side. It adds functionality to CAD data management. Of course, we do CAD integrations very well. And PDM, product data management, is just the first step. Often PDM, product data management, is mixed up with PLM. So what we do then is we accompany the companies that we're working with on their journey up the maturity curve from product data management to product lifecycle management to Enterprise PLM, which addresses a holistic view of the product value chain across the company, inside the company and outside the company.
So it sounds to me as though it's very much a cross-enterprise issue, and as such it really calls for senior management involvement at the very highest level. Have I got that right?
Exactly, yes. So in order to get maximum value of Enterprise PLM, it's important to integrate the product value chain with the company's overall supply chain management processes. So you have to, when for example it comes to supplier collaboration, you have to identify the right suppliers that can cooperate with you in the design phase, even in the ideation phase of a product, and then also when it comes to the make and the service of the product, then of course it's important to have a convergence of demand, supply and design. So when you take a look at measurement of the totality of best-in-class, demand-driven and global supply chains, there's some analysts looking at operational excellence and innovation. These are the two measures that can be applied in looking at product value chain and supply chain excellence. That's operational excellence and innovation. So there's one metric for the operational excellence, which is the perfect order rate and the total supply chain cost. On the other hand side, you have the innovation excellence, which can be assessed by time to value and return on innovation. So what you see is that these two things are two sides of the same coin. And with enterprise product lifecycle management, we are enabling this product value chain. And that means we have information-driven value chains and not disconnected value chains.
Okay, I think I've got it. But I'm now going to put you on the spot here. Because, as I understand it, for businesses to know that they need enterprise PLM, they ought to be able to recognise examples of bad PLM practices within their manufacturing operations. Can you give us some examples of that?
Yes, of course. This depends on the industry where you're in. Of course, a retail company has different problems and requirements in contrast, for example, to high technology, food and beverage company, and so forth. So one thing they have all in common, and that is, if you don't have a single holistic point of view on your product information, then you will have problems. And the problems, for example, when it comes to life sciences and pharmaceutical or medical device, you will face delayed regulatory approvals, for example, or you will have potentially inaccurate product labeling, which leads to regulatory fines. For example, if you're exporting your stuff to the US, where you have to deal with the Food and Drug Administration in the US, you have to potentially do some extensive rework for products. When it comes to retail, well, different problems perhaps. You have slow introductions of new product lines, and you might face difficulty with multi-channel retailing if you don't have the product information at hand right away. High tech, another example. In order to capture first-to-market price premiums, you have to develop your innovative products very quick, and this is where accurate product data, which is reliable, will absolutely help you with that. When it comes to engineering, in industrial manufacturing, for example, engineering change orders is really the key to operate them quickly and reliably. And how can you do an engineering change order if you don't have all your product information at hand? So this helps you here. When it comes to food and beverage, you might have a safety alert on an ingredient, and you need to have full traceability on the ingredients, on the suppliers. Where does this ingredient come from? Which product has this ingredient gone? Where is it now? So this is another thing where you have a better life if you're responsible for a product and you're in control of the product information. Then, of course, it makes you sleep better at night. And finally, when it comes to consumer goods, making uninformed decisions on product portfolios is a problem. You have to produce appropriate to the demand in the market. And so product portfolio management, in conjunction with idea management and innovation management, can help you very much in addressing the right markets.
Now, turning to you, Jason, how can Oracle Enterprise PLM actually make a difference? What can it do that manufacturers will notice to help them with those problems?
Thanks, Malcolm. I think, firstly, I think if we take a look at the slide associated here, I think globally now Oracle Enterprise PLM solutions are used by more than 2,000 customers worldwide, with companies ranging in from a small, mid-sized organisations right up to the large-scale enterprise companies, including the best-known brands, which you'll see on the slide. And most of these companies are seeing the true value of Oracle's PLM solutions today. I think also to remember, Oracle, as we mentioned earlier, is the only PLM provider which offers an industry-specific application back to those 7 key industries that we align ourselves to. So I think it's really important that to address your product network complexity and in order to innovate faster and reduce costs, our solutions can help whatever industry you're in today.
Okay, but what are the actual components that make up Oracle Enterprise PLM?
Yeah, I guess so. So to give you an overview now, Oracle's Enterprise PLM solution is a modular suite of applications, allowing customers to choose, implement and deploy a combination of modules to suit their business needs and requirements. The Enterprise PLM provides full integrated modules across a number of PLM processes, and if we take a closer look at the slide, we can go through each of those as we go through. So Enterprise, at the centre of our suite, is Enterprise Product Record. This really allows company to provide a secure, timely, accurate visibility and control of product information and its processes to every stakeholder at each key stage of the product life cycle. If we look at the Product Data Hub, this enables companies to then centralise that information and the product data created to create a single view of product information across all of the functional departments. I think importantly here, and to remember, data quality management is something that people tend to forget about, and our product data quality enables companies to create a consistent and reliable product data set that quickly identifies and applies standards across all systems and all processes. Product collaboration, is key to any supply chain and helps users share product data, not only structure but manage changes across the product network. Very important nowadays is really customer needs management. This enables companies to capture ideas and requirements and start to have an interaction with the design and their conceptual design and collaborate that globally with an engineer to order or an idea management approach. If we look at engineering collaboration, this integrates PLM with all the leading MCAD and ECAD packages. I think as Ulf mentioned earlier, historically PLM has been about engineering management or the data management of the engineering data. So that's very important at any foundation level of PLM. Of course, on top of engineering data, enterprise visualization provides native document visualization across a global enterprise with over 450 different file formats. If we look at the importance of regulatory requirements now, product data, product governance and compliance, this enables organisations to manage the product data when it comes to material compliance or substance compliance and meet those regulatory requirements. Product quality management starts to try and drive product quality and customer satisfaction, improving your product, providing better quality of product to the marketplace, and it really helps with a full closed loop corrective action system within the PLM tool. If we look at product cost management now, this enables companies to provide and manage product costs early in the life cycle. So it's really designed for cost and allows you to look at reducing the cost of your product before it goes to market. Materials and equipment management, this is important about managing the product design assets, globally between distributed engineering teams. Recipe management for process manufacturing, really making sure you have quality, traceability and full control all of the ingredients or formulation, and again making sure you're compliant with the regulatory needs. Product portfolio management, I think this is key. It provides a tight program and product information solution which can maximise resources across multiple projects or multiple programs and then really support the decision making of that project through its life cycle. And then the final two around the outside, product life cycle analytics. This is very key nowadays in delivering business intelligence to the business, giving you accurate, up-to-date dashboards of all of the product data that you have across your business. And then finally, pedigree and serialisation management. This is really specifically for the pharma marketplace, but enables companies to implement and manage mass serialisation of drug products and shared serialisation of product data across its supply chain.
So, Jason, that's a great explanation of the features of Enterprise PLM. But what about the benefits? And putting you on the spot a bit here, can you give us an example?
Yeah, sure, Malcolm. I think the Oracle Enterprise PLM solution really allows companies to transform from a fragmented engineering and design process to much more of an information-driven organisation. I think it's really trying to provide a 360-degree visibility view of product information and real-time cross-functional collaboration across the entire product network. I think the old adage, and it is, Enterprise PLM is really about a single system of truth which provides the information across the product value chain. So it helps answer questions like, where do I find the latest drawing? do I have the right quality data? Is the quality data linked to the engineering change? Do I have access to all of the information, the latest version of the files and so forth? So really it's ensuring that everybody's in sync and everybody has access to make better, informed decisions at the right time and the right place. I think some of the benefits that you can drive, back to your question, Malcolm, is really what can Oracle drive and enable a company to do. We look to drive, accelerate innovation. We look to really to improve the design for supply, product cost management, and then really look at rapid commercializations, time to market being key, and helping companies get better, quicker product to market. Okay, so let's now take a quick look at a quick example. So as we mentioned earlier, Oracle's Enterprise PLM can provide some out-of-the-box capabilities and pre-built capabilities. The example that you can see on the screen now is actually showing our PLM analytics with some pre-built dashboards provided by role across the business. The example here is taking a look at maybe a senior manager's view or executive's view of some key performance indicators of the product portfolio. You can see highlighted here that he's received a notification or alert that one of his key projects is now potentially over schedule, and also some other key information that he may be interested in. You can see here that this particular project is also probably the one that produces the most revenue, so clearly something that he's interested in. And by using the tool, he can now drill down to look into the information a little bit further to understand the reason for the overrun. If we then look on to the next screen and go a little deeper, it identifies one of the key areas where the project potentially is at risk. This highlights that there's a risk within the supply chain or potentially with a supplier. So the executive or the senior manager can really identify where he needs to go within his business to address this. He can then maybe contact the supply chain group or even a project manager to understand the impact of the issue. If we then take a look at the next screen, from a project manager's point of view, we can imagine that the senior management has actually spoken with the project manager. The same dashboards are provided by role-based, so you can see here the project manager has a different view. He can see all of his projects that he's managing over time, along with other key bits of information that he may need. Once again, he can actually drill down to further detail to understand why this particular project is overrunning. And again, by clicking through, he can see on the next screen a much more detailed page for the project itself. Here you can see the project plan along the left and the status of the project overall, a project summary, some idea of the upcoming activities and tasks that he may be involved in. And here you can see clearly one of the tasks has not started because of the issue that was outlined by the supplier. So once again, as a project manager, he can then maybe take a look further by clicking through and drilling down onto the next screen, which identifies that there's actually a non-compliance of a component or material from one of his suppliers. This has been recorded in the system and logged, so he can then look at that information further as he goes into the system. By going through and looking at the actual detailed report on the next slide, you can see now he understands that the supplier is All Trust Corporation and that they're obviously one of their key suppliers. He can take two decisions here. Clearly he can maybe speak with them directly to identify the issue and the risk. Alternatively, he can maybe then go back to the dashboards and understand from a supplier perspective how All Trust as a corporation are as one of their suppliers. If we look at the final slide, the dashboard shows under supplier quality that what this particular supplier is very reliable. It tends to always deliver on time. So I think it gives him some confidence that this risk is a low risk, and also obviously then allow him to maybe speak to the customer themselves or the supplier themselves. So that really ends the quick example of the product and portfolio. And in later webinars we'll look at some more key PLM processes in some more detail.
Thanks, Jason. Now, a quick reminder, we're looking forward to your questions. That's what the box is for on your screen. Please type your questions. We're really looking forward to answering them. Now, Ulf, turning to you, how would you summarise today's webinar and the issues that we've explored? And why do you think that companies should put Enterprise PLM high on their list of strategic priorities?
Well, thank you, Malcolm. Well, as we said before, we have to look into various industries because they face unique pressures, industry by industry. It's different everywhere. But one thing is for certain, and that is that there's more complex design and supply chains that they have to address these days. You have globalization, which is a common process, and companies, big or small, they have to face the challenges that come with globalization, with increased competition, with pressure on prices, and the accelerated pace on innovation. So, and there's a market demand to have specific customized products. So, product networks are getting more and more complex, and that is true for all companies, be it big or small. And so there's a new streamlined approach required, which is to integrate the product development and innovation processes into the overall supply chain. And Enterprise PLM is exactly the thing that is doing this. So what should companies do these days? They need to take a purposeful, thoughtful and honest inventory of existing IT landscape that they have these days and their value chain operations and opportunities. That's the first step. And then they should identify the specific operational product value chain priorities. So take a look first, where do I need more integration? Is product ideation and innovation connected to the demands that I have to face? And then, of course, we are very happy to help, and we are ready to short-term and long-term develop roadmaps together with our clients on IT developments, and we are certainly here to help.
Ulf, thank you very much. And now a reminder, we're looking forward to your questions. That's what the box on your screen is for. Please type your questions. We're really looking forward to answering them. Thank you. Thank you, Ulf. Thank you, Jason. And thank you to everyone out there for watching and for sending in those questions. And the good news, Ulf and Jason, is that we have some really great questions to answer. So let's get stuck in. First, a question about ROI, and I'm sending it your way, Ulf. How big is the ROI of Enterprise PLM? And where exactly does it come from?
The ROI can be big. It needs to be identified, certainly. It certainly comes from various angles. First of all, you certainly want to develop products right to the market, get to market fast, and ramp up to volume and hit the target cost appropriately. So to give you some of the numbers, I noted them down because for obvious, you can reduce the product cycle time of up to 20%. So this is really significant numbers. You can improve productivity for your product development process of up to 40%. Other numbers, for example, when it comes to ramp to volume and hit the target cost, you can reduce the material cost by 5%. So just look at your bill these days. What are your material costs? Do you want to reduce them by 5%? Do you want to reduce the new part additions of up to 30%? That's a value that we got together with our customers. Another important key performance indicator is reduced waste and rework, and we have customers who have achieved a reduction of up to 40% in terms of rework. And when it comes to the end of a product lifecycle in the service area, we have faced, together with our customers, a reduction of warranty and service cost of up to 20%, and even the end-of-life cost by up to 50%. So that's significant numbers, and that's money.
Okay, thanks, Ulf. Next up, here's another one that I'm sending your way. What's the time to benefit of Enterprise PLM? I mean, how quickly do you start to see that ROI?
You can imagine the introduction of PLM is a journey, and there are some short-term benefits and there are some long-term benefits. For example, a short-term benefit can be, specifically when it comes to the product development phase, that an engineer is able to find the parts much quicker than before. And so he does not have to waste time searching for parts or asking other colleagues where to find this part or that part. Then over time, it will be, of course, a little bit of a change management exercise where there's also a cultural change involved, that suddenly engineers would speak to people in the marketing or sales organization. And that discussion is, to a certain extent, also a little bit enforced by the introduction of an IT solution. So, and that again brings benefits because suddenly the marketing people know what the engineers are doing, which is, of course, another benefit. Another idea, and then finally, over time, a company will be able to bring the required products to market quickly and faster, and this is the long-term benefit, really, where you really get some money out of it.
Okay, so it's a journey. Now, Jason, do you have to have Oracle ERP to undertake that journey with Oracle Enterprise PLM?
Well, actually, interestingly, I think that's a common question, Malcolm. I think a bit of a misconception as well to think about that you have to have a complete suite from Oracle. I think it's important, and we've touched upon it several times today. The Enterprise PLM solution from Oracle is an open architecture. We have pre-built integrations into all of the major ERP systems in the marketplace. So clearly, you don't have to have Oracle ERP to get the maximum benefit of Enterprise PLM from Oracle. I think it's also a much more important note to mention that Ulf did earlier, the integrations not only to the ERP, but the integration to all the leading MCAD and ECAD solutions in the marketplace is another benefit of having an open solution like Oracle's Enterprise PLM.
Okay, thanks. Finally, we've been asked, how do manufacturers recognise that they need Enterprise PLM? I mean, what are the signs to watch out for?
And again, it's a question I get asked quite often, Malcolm, and I think we've touched upon a lot of them today. I think all companies may differ, but clearly the challenges today of outsourced design, outsourced manufacturing, so a lot of companies will have those challenges. So those are some of the signs that you have a dispersed product collaboration environment across the globe. It's key and clear that you can benefit from PLM. I think the other areas clearly is the regulatory requirements that you're being driven by the pressures for those areas, and I think also then product costs. A lot about reducing costs and your supply chain costs. So any of those areas where companies are feeling the pressure, Enterprise PLM can definitely help.
Okay, thanks, Jason. And that, I'm afraid, is all we've time for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for really great questions. We hope you found it valuable. And thank you too, guys, Jason, Ulf, for being here today.
Thank you.
We very much appreciate it. So that's it for our first Oracle Enterprise PLM seminar. We'll be back in September with the second one. We hope to see you then. To find out more about Oracle Enterprise PLM, follow the links that you should be seeing on your screen now, or contact Oracle directly. And in the meantime, from Oracle and from the Manufacturer magazine, thank you.